welcome to another thrilling instalment of Prog Review. And today I'm reviewing, you have to imagine it's there, in Cauda Venenum, Latin for poison in the tail or sting in the tail, you know, like a scorpion. It's the 13th, oh god, unlucky for some, us. Studio album from Swedish progressive rock band Opeth. Yeah, progressive. Don't think so. I wrote notes. Look, I actually wrote notes because the album's so boring. I thought I'd actually write some notes down because I wouldn't be able to remember any of it. It's oh wait a minute, got to go and find it. It is, he said, 1 hour 7 minutes long. They filled the CD, except there isn't a CD. They, you know, that's my printer making a noise because I printed out the notes. There's two versions. There's the Swedish version and the English language version. Don't make it sound any better. Oh! I'm trolling them Opeth fans. Begins with the track "Garden of Earthly Delights," and I'm gonna. Don't mind me when I peruse my notes, because like I'm a professional now. Starts with Promise with some Mellotron. Now Mellotron, that automatically makes it progressive rock if there's Mellotron used, and there's like sound effects, you know. And then there's this really subpar nod to Stranger Things, you know, the arpeggiated synthesizer. And it's a motif that leads the track ultimately to nowhere, as it doesn't resolve itself. The track doesn't go anywhere, and it just sets the scene. I mean, there's sound effects and children's voices and whatnot, and it's merely a scene setter, which is, you know, it's a shame. Dignity, of course, this track comes crashing in because it has to, because the first track has kind of got you all on the edge of your seat, and then bammo, it's the old loud, quiet, loud thing, you know. And there's a lot of that on this album. There's a lot of it. It comes crashing with the old, I've written it here, old, quiet, loud resolution. A pleasant acoustic passage leading into some very Stephen Wilson-esque vocal phrasing. Plodding, predictable stuff, though the acoustic sections were pleasant and evocative. So, yeah. Heart in Hand. Rhythmically, it starts off something like an old Iron Maiden song. But it's a real soft edge to it. I quite enjoyed the bass line, but the rest is pretty much Opeth by numbers. The last third smushes into a nice acoustic piece, which I think is where the band's strengths lie these days, because the harder stuff just doesn't cut it. Them's fighting words. Next of Kin. The initial vocal phrasing here reminded me of Faith No More. Now that happens a lot with Opeth. Looking back, there's a sort of a, you know when Mike Patton does that. It's that kind of thing that I'm referring to. But at least they try to mix things up a bit, with there being a switch from loud to quiet, electric to acoustic within the actual song. But we're only 4 songs in, and that switching is becoming cliched. And it ends with a more like a Faith No More vibe at the end of the track. Lovelorn Crime. It starts off like a ballad, though the production sounds so mushy, I'm having a hard time understanding the lyrics. And this is a problem I had with the whole album. And I'm reading ahead of my own notes here. The production of the whole album feels like really blunt, like that fizz, the zing, that zoom, the zhuzh is missing. And if you go and listen back to some of Opeth's earlier works, especially was it Blackwater Park was my introduction to them back in 2001. That's got that bite to it, and this I don't know. There's just so anyway, get your lighters out, folks, for we're in soft rock ballad mode. This is one for the ladies, methinks. Of course, it does have the word love in the title. Oh, I'm good. Charlatan. Ha! this sounds something like I did on my Americana album, The Last Goodbye. No, it doesn't. There's some diddle going on there. This is interesting. Good rhythmic stuff going on. There's some engaging, dissonant keyboard bourbon. I think it's keyboard. I couldn't be sure if it was keyboard or some sort of processed guitar, but the way it was played sounded more like keyboard to me. Overblown, ridiculous, but at least it's keeping me interested. The instrumental chorus is a little bit shonky, but we're back to creepy children's telephone voices and the Gregorian monks to weird us out. They're chanting at the end. Ooh. That's followed by Universal Truth. Again, soft, quiet, overblown stuff, texturally interesting, but the vocals are so obscured by the mushy production I can't understand a thing. And it sounds like he's actually gargling. I can only understand him on the acoustic passages. I guess I will never know what the Universal Truth is. Again, it's overblown and daft, but the quiet passages always seem to work better than the harder ones. Should have just made it a ballad. The Garroter. Not the character, as I thought it said. Didn't have my glasses on. And we all know the character he's a serial killer who dispatches his victim by putting a carrot up their bottom. Oh, come on. Can have a bit of fun with this. Nice guitar and piano opening. And then we're taken over by the spirit of the jazz. Oh, the jazz weighs heavy on this one. I like this one because they are trying to do something a bit different. It's Brechtian in its execution and channels Mac the Knife and the Threepenny Opera. Top track. Followed by Continuum. The staccato opening, wrong foots you, and then and at least the production is open and has some air to it. Again, the band's actual strength when they stretch out and do something away from the heavy stuff. But I fear it's going to descend into heavy mush. Yes, there it is. Oh dear. The loud bits are a bit of a head bobber, I suppose. And finally, the last track is All Things Will Pass. Like this album, thank fuck. That's what I've written. Let's see, look, because I'm meaning. I'm a bit of a meanie, aren't I? Yes, it's the big angst-filled finale, which literally just fades out to nothing. Wow. And my final word on this, it was actually less interesting than Sorceress. Let's see, that was it. And that's the problem with Opeth, is they've been just doing the same thing for years and getting away with it. It's just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and it's great if you like that kind of stuff. Personally, it riles me when people call them progressive. It really does rile me because they're not. Just because you put a mellotron on something, now I'm contradicting myself. Just because you know where I'm going with this. Look, it's great if you love it, but personally, 71 minutes of stuff that kind of heard before, and again I think they're missing a trick, because I think they've got some real good mood stuff going with the acoustic passages, and they need to go more the folk. I mean, they kind of touched on it before, didn't they? That kind of folk. Forgetting which album it is now. It's not the Sorceress. I think it was the one before that, where it was kind of folky, and I think that's where they could do some really interesting stuff there. Like with the was it Corrosion Burn, the Stephen Wilson thing. Oh, it's been a long time. You know what I mean? It's Corrosion, something correct. That was interesting. I think again that's where they need to. But then they wouldn't be Opeth then, would they? They wouldn't be that black metal rock band that went progressive. So yeah, in terms of rating, I didn't think much of it. Sorry, I didn't think much of it. And the production was the real problem. It was really, really bad. The vocals, couldn't understand him. They were kind of really obscured. I had a real hard time with it. And like I said, it just sounded really unfocused and really mushy. But yeah, so in terms of rating, I'm going to give it 2 garrotas out of 5. That's 2 garrotas out of 5. And that's it. That should annoy the Opeth fans if they watch this. Probably won't. I don't think anyone's going to watch this because it's YouTube. It's a real crapshoot. You roll the dice. unless it's an unboxing. Who knows how these videos perform these days. But it's all fun. Anyway, I'm going to have to do the thing. Don't forget to like or dislike this video. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon. www.patreon.com/lock. All contributions gratefully received. Please send money now. It is urgent. If anybody out there wants to employ a 48-year-old man with a media background, do drop me a line, because I'm available. Dirty deeds done cheap. What else was there? Oh, music.darrenlock.com. You could have a miserable time listening to the awful music I do. And if you're really stupid, you could buy some. Oh, on the social media, but we don't really bother with that. No, it's not good. Social media is bad. And that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. There'll be another one along soon. I have to figure out what to do. Maybe, again, do we put Jimi Hendrix in Prog Review, or do we do... Or is that more music go around? I'm confused. I've been paralysed with that conundrum for months now. Anyway, thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is prog on.